This is Lunchtime Politics, reaching you live from our global headquarters here in the nation's commercial nerve center, Lagos. I'm Jeffrey Uzanga, bringing you up to speed with happenings in politics. And in the polity, it begins right now. Senate Committee on Ethics, Code of Conduct and Public Petition dismisses Senator Natasha Akpoti's sexual harassment and abuse of office petition against Senate President Godswill Akpabio, describing it as dead on arrival, citing procedural flaws and pending court case. Rivers State House of Assembly gives Governor Siminalayi Fubara another 48-hour ultimatum to forward names of commissioner nominees for consideration after the initial ultimatum to present budget expired. And the Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission fixes August the 9th for fresh local government election as the State Assembly summons the chairman of the commission to appear before them on Friday, March the 7th. Thanks again for joining us on a program that gives you all access pass to happenings in the polity and in politics. And there's a lot that has happened in the last 24 hours. But we'll get started with the National Assembly, but not with the issue of the two senators. Let's start with the House of Representatives, where the Edo State government, while they are tackling the insecurity of the state, the House of Representatives is asking the Inspector General of Police to deploy additional policemen to identify flashpoints across the state. The House reached this resolution after considering a motion by Honorable Marcus and Onobu, drawing attention to the recent plague of insecurity in the state. According to the lawmakers, several lives have been lost in recent times due to clashes among herdsmen, farmers, and militants.
And the second petition is coming from... Note that the reports allege that two indigenous individuals in Okpekpe community in Esako West local government area in Edo State were gruesomely murdered on Monday, 24th February 2025 by suspected killer headers. Similarly, the reports allege that no fewer than 28 persons were left dead by violent clash between cocoa farmers and militants in Ovia Southwest local government in Edo State. Also, a head of a vigilante group in Owan West was murdered in cold blood, and also a child in Esan Central local government area. Worried that this series of bloodbaths in Edo State has created the atmosphere of uncertainty, fear among the people of the states, affecting the socio-economic lives of the people. Disturbed that the government of Edo State seems to be overwhelmed by the spate of frequency of the killings, hence the need for federal government to lend a helping hand to the state to curb this ugly menace. Accordingly, resolved to urge the Inspector General of Police to deploy additional security personnel and intensify intelligence gathering and surveillance operation in identified flashpoints within the state.
Lawmaker representing parts of the constituencies in Edo State. Let's move to Rivers State, where the House of Assembly has now threatened to arrest the chairman of the Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission should he fail to appear before the House on Friday, which is tomorrow. This followed a motion by Honorable Enemi George that the RSHA chairman and his commissioners be summoned to appear before the House to answer questions about finances surrounding the conduct of last year's council elections and their plan to conduct another election this year.
At today's plenary at the Rivers State Assembly, Honorable Enemi George moves a motion to summon the RSHA chairman and his commissioners over last year's council election.
Mr. Speaker, recall that the reason why the Supreme Court annulled that election was because it was not in consonance with the Electoral Act. this House came here and agreed that we should immediately amend the law to be in consonance with the Electoral Act. Mr. Speaker, it will sadden you and wrench your heart to know that just a few days ago, the Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission has gone ahead to announce that they are beginning the process to conduct another election. That is why I'm bringing this motion, Mr. Speaker.
The Speaker then instructs the clerk to write the RSHA chairman to appear before the House on Friday by 10 a.m.
By resolution of this House, the clerk will include in the letter that if the chairman and the commissioners fail to appear before this August Assembly, the House will be left with no other option but to invoke its powers vested in us in Section 129 of the 1999 Constitution to issue a warrant of arrest to compel them to appear before this August Assembly.
Next, the leader of the House raises a motion over 19 commissioners he says are illegally serving in the cabinet without being screened by the Assembly.
There are many impostors who parade themselves today as members of Rivers State Executive Council who were not screened and confirmed by the Rivers State House of Assembly. Mr. Speaker, this infraction has made Rivers State a laughing stock in the Committee of Home.
This motion is supported by Honorable Wellington, who laments the absence of an Attorney General in the state. The Speaker criticizes the Attorney General, saying he's an impostor. He also gives the Governor 48 hours to submit the names of the 19 commissioners to the Assembly for screening, failure of which the House will order their arrest.
The Governor of this state, who is now the nationally acclaimed dictator of our time, going by the judgment of the Supreme Court and other pronouncements of other courts, is still harboring this impostor who is parading himself as the Attorney General of Rivers State. This individual is moving from one court to the other, claiming to be the Chief Law Officer of Rivers State, whereas he is not known to law. He is misleading the public, misleading Rivers people, and we will give the governor 48 hours to immediately forward a list of nominees for appointment into the Rivers State Executive Council as commissioners.
All eyes are on Friday to see what the outcome of both ultimatums will be. Charles Oporum, Channels Television News.
The Senate is set to receive the report from the Committee on Ethics, Privileges and Conduct, or Code of Conduct, following its probe into Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan's conduct during plenary. The report is expected to be presented any moment from now as the Senate resumes plenary today. The probe commenced hours earlier, but Senator Akpoti-Uduaghan was notably absent from the hearing. The investigation was initiated after a petition against her was referred to the Ethics Committee for review.
Dramatic scenes unfold at the gate of the National Assembly in the early hours of Wednesday, March 5th, as supporters of Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan stage a protest against the President of the Senate. The demonstration took a tense turn as security operatives fired tear gas to disperse the crowd. Amidst the tension, the senator representing Kogi's Central Senatorial District arrives the National Assembly complex in the company of her husband.
Oh, good morning.
She proceeds to settle down in her newly assigned seat, which was a nodal point of the ongoing controversy. And as the Senate president makes his way into the chamber, she did not offer him the customary gesture for presiding officers. The president of the Senate, Senator Godswill Akpabio, started plenary by dismissing allegations of sexual harassment. This is the first time he would be commenting on the issue since the allegation was made public by the Kogi lawmaker.
I would like to state clearly that at no time did I ever attempt any sexual harassment on the said distinguished Senator Akpoti-Uduaghan or any other woman for that matter. I have the highest regards for women. I also wish to state that I also have 4 beautiful daughters. So at no time will I ever harass any woman. Even as a state governor, I was awarded various awards. One of them was the one you wish to know, the most gender-friendly governor in Nigeria.
Immediately after, Senator Akpoti Uduaghan invokes Order 40, raising a petition.
The petition is in my name against the President of the Nigerian Senate, His Excellency Senator Godswill Akpabio, for sexual harassment, abuse of office, and malicious obstruction of my legislative functions. So if it may please you, I would humbly step forward and lay this petition.
You may proceed.
In a twist, the Senate's chief whip reads the rules, laying the foundation for what will be the eventual rejection of the petition.
An unambiguous terms in Rule 40 and specifically Rule 7 states that Senate should not receive or deliberate on any matter to which actions are pending in any court of law.
There is an immediate pushback from Senator Akpoti Uduaghan.
I beg to differ that this matter is sub judice. And I stand on privilege 10, Order 10, which is on privileges.
Sorry.
Dear Senate President, please, with due respect, do you mind? I have raised an Order 10, privileges, sir, please. So permit me to speak without my microphone being silenced, dear sir, President of the Nigerian Senate. Order 10 on privileges.
Coincidentally, I'm hearing you.
Your refusal to accept and treat my petition before the Senate Committee on Ethics and Privileges and Abuse of my privileges, and I say forth that this matter is not sub judice, it is not before the court. The matter before the court is on the defamation and cyberbullying statements made by your special assistant on new media, Mr. Patrick Umfom.
Tension again escalates as the Senate's procedures are debated.
Section 47 and the other sections that have been quoted by my learned brother there should be the responsibility of that committee. So close the matter, hand over to the committee, then the committee will be privileged to look into the rules and then take whatever decision is appropriate under our rules.
Mr. President, I sympathize with you. As a man being accused of sexual harassment, I am not going to comment on that because there will be an ample opportunity for the relevant authorities to deal with that. But I know, dear colleagues, that distinguished Senator Natasha went to court on a matter, then appeared on Arise TV on another matter, talking about sexual harassment. And the wife of the President of the Senate, Mrs. Uloma Akpabio, on behalf of the family, the children, went to court, and parties have been served on allegation of sexual harassment. So it is important for the public to know.
Given the clarification, the Senate proceeds with the business of the day. Upon adjournment, the President of the Senate announces the immediate commencement of the probe by the Committee on Ethics and Code of Conduct. After an hour of waiting, the committee proceeds with the investigation.
Our distinguished colleague, Senator Natasha Akpoti Uduaghan, was properly notified of this meeting, and I'm hoping that she will be here to give us her side of the story.
Witnesses testified before the committee.
One of my staff, in person of Sandra, she told her, as I directed them, that this your seat had been moved to so. She said, where? I said, you have moved to that place. She said, no. Please, over my dead body, I will not be there.
Other members of the committee also make imputes.
It's the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. It is therefore our responsibility to protect that institution. The moment we all or anybody pisses in the communal pool, we have a problem.
The petition she presented today is actually dead on arrival. And I say that because it runs contrary to Order 40, subsection 4, that no senator may present to the Senate a petition signed by him or herself.
Now, after testimonies from 2 senators and a sergeant-at-arms, the Senate Committee on Code of Conduct, Ethics and Privileges went behind closed doors to collate all the accounts, and it is expected to submit its report in a few days. From the National Assembly, Gloria Omezuke, Channels Television News.
Let's bring in our guest, Mr. Kayode Akinshola is Dr. Kayode Akinshola, the Acting Dean, Chrisland College of Law. Doctor, thank you so much for coming on the program, sir.
Thank you so much and good afternoon. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for your patience and for waiting. The reason we had to play so that people that are not familiar with the story can get some kind of panoramic view of what is playing out. I know you would have read a lot of things, watched a lot of things about the face-off between Senator Natasha and the Senate President. What's your take from the legal angle? Because there are so many angles to it. There's a part of procedure in the Senate. There's a part of defamation and counter-defamation suit. There's also the part of sexual harassment allegation.
Now, I think we need to really have a background to what has actually happened between Senator Natasha and that of the Senate President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Though a number of angles has actually been thrown into this issue, and it is making mockery of that red chamber as it stands today. A senator representing Kogi Central, who happens to be one out of the four female senators that we have in Nigeria, that the Senate President actually approached her on the 8th of December 2023, when he extended an invitation, pre-birthday invitation to herself and that of her husband. And while holding her in hand, the Senate President told her that you live what, I mean, the house you see, and a number of things were actually said. And as a follow-up to that, Senator Natasha presented a particular motion, which is a bill that has to do with the Ajaokuta Steel Complex, about five different occasions. And this particular motion was not listed, not until when it gets to the 6th time. And the senator came out to say that Senate President has actually said that if you make me happy, this motion can sail through. And so many follow-ups actually came up. And only for the senator, the Senate President, to come out yesterday to deny such allegations and citing that the motion or the petition that was submitted through the chairman of the Ethics and Privileges Committee, who are supposed to listen to the petition. The citing section, Order 40, sub 4 of it, that you cannot present a petition signed by a senator, you understand, by yourself. That is against the rules of that is true. Also, when you go to subsection 7 and that of 10 of that particular House rule, Senate Rule 40, is saying that if a matter is pending before the court, it cannot be debated on the floor of the Senate Assembly. Following up to all of this, I think it is more of moral than legal when we look at this critically. If you want to think, you want to follow law stricto sensu, I believe that the petition of Senator Natasha has gone down the drain. We can predict what is going to come out from the reports that the Senate committee, they are going to send out. It's going to come out on technicalities. But when you take a cursory look at it, just beyond the wife of the Senate President going to court, saying that my husband has not done this, the children saying their father cannot do this, I think we owe it as a duty as a nation. If the number 3 man in this nation is being indicted or is being, alleged of sexual harassment, it is not an issue that can just be swept under the carpet. And I expect that people from various angles should begin to look at it that, oh, why was she asked that she has to leave her seat to go to another seat? All this, just like Natasha made mention, that is just like a case of a student that is being punished for not sleeping with the teacher. So it is something that is calling for questioning. And as such, I will not want to go extra legalist. I believe that Natasha, being a lawyer, ought to have assembled the very best of lawyers if she knows that she actually wants to fight this battle headlong. There are so many. Don't forget, if you are talking about number 3 in Nigeria, they have the access to media. They have the access to security apparatus. So we are expecting the very best assemblage of lawyers who knows their onions, who could stand where occasion demand, unlike this particular. Otherwise, you will just see, the person that's been alleged sitting tight in the office and you're thinking that you are going to be having any negative reports coming out against him.
So at the end of the day, what we have now, of course, the petition is being buried on the premise of technicality because they don't want to maybe subjudice and procedural flaws. What is in court is basically defamation. Do you think she should proceed to court or institute a suit of sexual harassment if she can't get quote-unquote justice from the Senate? And what is people are saying the Senate president should step down on moral ground. Is that a good call?
See, when you are talking about a Nigeria space, I believe you can hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Can you hear me? Okay,
Yes.
so it is an impossibility when you talk about Nigerian space. It is something that it hardly happened. You won't see any Senate president, being in an office because it's alleged. People will be saying it's just a mere allegation. But the moral thing will have been he should put down his resignation, let the privileges committee, let them do what they are supposed to do. And I want to say this, if Natasha should go to court, the Senate will go headlong by saying we cannot tamper with it again, and you wouldn't know number of years that she will spend in court. They might still need to go to Court of Appeal, and after all, they might spend 10 years. All of our political career will have gone down the drain. Just a mere allegation. They ask her to shift her seat from one particular position to the extreme. This is an intimidation. It is an harassment. If you are irrespective of the cadre that you find yourself in Nigeria, you should be able to stand above tall. We are not cursed in this nation. People of integrity, they are not too difficult to see in Nigeria. The people that are occupying our space in Nigeria, we do not appear as if we should be regarded as one of those nations that are fighting for justice. And for me, I just feel that Natasha should up his game, should get more, team that will plan both the strategy as well as the legal, fireworks that they will do. But I do not still see Natasha coming out. Though she's in PDP, coming from Kogi Central. But I do not really see much because the allegation that they are, levying against her now at the moment is because she was removed as the chairman of the local content committee. Now, she's just a member now, as we speak now. She's just a member of the committee on diaspora. So kind of, all those nostalgia we keep going till we get to 2027.
I want you to further. Yes, I want you to speak further on the issue of morality here as well. I know you're the lawyer, so you also look at the legal angle. They faulted on a couple of technical grounds. First, you're supposed to move your seat and make your argument. You need to be in order to call for an order. That's on one hand. Not standing up when the Senate president came in, perhaps still angry with him. That's a courtesy that you don't need to allow your emotion override. The procedure of laying petition is faulty, and all of the things that they said as far as this is concerned. But where I'm coming to, there's a statement made by former vice presidential spokesperson I want you to respond to. It says, once he talked about, if you think that there is a need to punish her for violating the rules, there's a better way to handle it. This idea of all men coming out and brandishing the rules is not looking pretty at all. This woman has said to the whole world she was sexually harassed. We have to be careful. The Nigerian Senate need to be careful not to create an impression that we're trying to silence her. When you hear the assertions, the interviews being granted both by serving and former senators, what's your impression about the state of the Senate in providing safe spaces for women?
Now, to me, I want to agree to an extent with what Laolu Akode said this morning. And my position will not be in any form different. And I want to believe that the former Senate president, they will have held various positions. But what we have at the moment is that a senator, a female senator, has actually come to glare that, oh, Mr. Senate President, you have harassed me. And she laid all her cards on the table. And we began with technicalities, saying that she was not to speak, she was not supposed to sit somewhere, she was supposed to stand up. All these things, they are things that could cause emotional damage for that senator. And when we are talking about justice system, when we are talking about egalitarian society, we are talking about the echo chambers. These are the things, one of the reasons why we tend to respect that National Assembly is because we believe that the good people of wherever they represent, they found them to be the best from that area. I mean, from that senatorial district. But when you are having this type of allegation against a female senator who is saying she's been molested, she's been harassed, that she's been victimized, and I think it's just not something that other senators, because Senator Akpabio, for example, the Senate president, for example, has the majority of the senator to herself, I mean, to himself. So to an extent, we do not expect anything short of, I mean, senators supporting him. And there's kind of regard that they tend to give to each other. So here, the law aspect might not really work stricto sensu. But on the ground of morality, I think I expected a more lucid, more responsible statement from the Senate president, other than what he read on that floor of the red chambers yesterday. If there was an allegation against you as the Senate president, you can't just say you are morally trained. Somebody she gave a date where you said XYZ. She gave the instances where she submitted a motion that has to do with the good people of Kogi Central. And the best you could do is just to come with a prepared speech on the floor of the red chamber and only for you to read without answering to the dictates of such allegations. We have seen, I mean, a number of things that have been said by his aides, but we are not, I mean, those aides, they are paid agents. They are just aides. Let them just do whatever they did.
So it was saying he didn't do it. But in closing, I think the core conversation here, the big issue here is nobody's comfortable with harassment. I think anger, if I read that correctly, is no matter what is going on outside the chambers, don't allow this alleged harassment come into the business that we're here for. Now that this has happened like this, how will she proceed? Because now it looks like the odds are a bit against her within that space. In closing, 30 seconds.
Now, I think for Natasha needs to, where it is possible, she might need to use political solution by approaching the presidency. She should engage the media and the civil societies at this moment. She should, in final closing, she should assemble a team of strategists and lawyers. Herself being a lawyer, they should be able to find, I mean, ways around it so that she can be saved in the face of this harassment and intimidation by the office of the Senate president.
Almost, thank you so much, sir. And I wish we had more time, but we had to roll that report so that the purpose of the audience is for them to grasp exactly what we're dealing with, because it's an ongoing conversation. It has not ended because I know it's a battle. It's almost an institutional battle here. I must thank you so much, Dr. Kayode Akinshola, Acting Dean, Chrisland College, Faculty of Law, Chrisland College. Thank you so much, sir, for coming on the program. We appreciate you, sir.
Thank you so much for having me.
And just before we wrap up, let's tell you that the River State Independent Electoral Commission has actually set August the 9th for the fresh local government election after the Supreme Court nullified the election that held in October last year. Thank you for your time and company. I'm Jeffrey Uzongo. You've been served on Lunchtime Politics. Bye-bye.